What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Tony Folk, the boy Zombie Slayer, and I have some big news for us all to react to. All the Treyarch fanboys gonna love this.
A big day for Treyarch lovers as we have breaking news regarding Call of Duty 2024. Now recently there has been a lot of leaks. I actually posted the other day a bunch of gameplay details for COD 2024 Zombies, and we've actually recently had a lot of campaign and multiplayer details as well that I'll probably have in a video very soon. But in the meantime for that, we actually know that the title of this game will after all apparently be Black Ops Gulf War, because Windows Central came out with this article.
Fuck yeah, let's go for cool.
Talking about a bunch of information, and I'll talk about that in a second. And following on from that, Insider Gaming then came out and said that the title is indeed apparently Black Ops Gulf War. Now of course, we've known that this game will be set in the Gulf War for a very long time. However, we were just using the title Black Ops Gulf War as a placeholder, a guess, an assumption, because no leaks actually specifically said it would be called Black Ops Gulf War. We were just assuming it might follow a similar trend to Black Ops Cold War. And honestly, I didn't really expect them to go with this title. Now, according to Insider Gaming, this is the title they have planned right now. Of course, since it's not officially confirmed yet, there is still time for them to change that title. Now, the interesting thing about this is that the campaign won't apparently just be tackling the Gulf War. It's going to be set during the 90s, of course, but it's going to be tackling so many other world events. Of course, the Gulf War was a very short event, especially considering to the usual events that Call of Duty tackle. And so this campaign,
the fall of the Berlin Wall, for example, the collapse of the Soviet Union, there's going to be a lot of KGB stuff, I'm assuming.
Won't just be tackling that, it'll be tackling loads of other events around the 90s and early 2000s. So it's interesting that they are titling the full game about the Gulf War as if the whole game is about the Gulf War, when it's actually just going to be a part of it. It most likely is just because...
Could that mean September the 11th as well?
Because, of course, from a marketing perspective, it makes sense for them to just have a very simple to understand title with just one war in it, because they're not obviously going to put multiple wars in the title, and they're of course not also going to try and title it something else to be all-encompassing. The game will probably sell better if it's something a lot more simple and memorable, just like Black Ops Gulf War. So the big thing about this game, of course, is it's going to be the first Call of Duty game that has had a full 4 years of development. Treyarch are of course heading the project. Of course the other developers will be helping too, like with all CODs nowadays. However, this is a massive amount of development time. Now Treyarch have of course been working on Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, Vanguard Zombies, Ranked Play, and they've been helping with the other COD games in between. But since Black Ops Cold War, it's been a full 4 years, and because of this, the expectations from the community for this game have never been higher. Our expectations are rocketing through the roof, and so this game really can't fail, because this time Treyarch don't have the excuse of
Treyarch better bring it, man, or it could be the death of a franchise.
There's a bunch of developmental issues, we were rushed, we didn't have enough time. We can't really shift the blame just solely to Activision if this game underperforms or doesn't meet those extremely high expectations, because the precedent has been set considering, like I said, it's had the longest development slate of any Call of Duty game before. Now, like I said, Treyarch have been helping with these other projects, but at the same time, they still have had so much time to work on their own projects, and hopefully those other projects haven't taken too many resources away from their main game and too much time away. And I think why this is really important is obviously Modern Warfare 3 has had a very hectic development. Sledgehammer, made it in a year and a half. That explains why the campaign was so poor and some of the other issues with the game. Vanguard similarly had a rough development. Black Ops Cold War had a very rough development. Black Ops 4 had a very rough development. So it really is about time a studio gets a full development cycle, especially Treyarch, with the last two games having so many issues behind the scenes with development and so many higher ups influencing the game. Black Ops 4's campaign being cut, them having to work on Blackout in a short period of time. So many problems arose in the past that caused extreme crunch for the developers. Treyarch are really deserving of a full 4 years, and I'm glad that they're going to be the first main Call of Duty studio to get that, and it's also going to be the first main Call of Duty game to release since the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. Of course, it happened before Modern Warfare 3 release, but this is the final game that has the deal with PlayStation, so this could be the first game that's on the Xbox Game Pass. So there's so much potential for this game to be absolutely huge and one of the biggest Call of Duties yet, with so many people jumping in thanks to the Game Pass. So what else
If it's on Game Pass, bomba clad.
Does this Call of Duty talk about? Now, as you know, this is Black Ops 6. Black Ops Cold War internally was called Black Ops 5. However, this is Black Ops 6. I see some people referring to this game as Black Ops 5 for some weird reason. It's not Black Ops 5, so let's just cut that out of the way. Even though I guess it doesn't really matter because the games aren't really following chronologically anymore. Now, for those unfamiliar with the Gulf War, this was the first major conflict between Saddam Hussein's Iraq and a coalition of US-led militaries. US President George Bush Sr. and UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher deployed troops to the traditional Black Ops field, where they're going to be this game will also be tackling Operation Desert Storm. The war also features some of America's largest ever tank battles in an era before drone warfare. Now, apparently, this game is going to be delving more into the traditional Black Ops field, where they're going to be focusing on more traditional military combat technology and familiar Black Ops gadgetry, as opposed to the current modern games and future technology. But like I said before, they're not just going to be focusing on the Gulf War. This game is apparently going to attempt to tell a nuanced perspective and narrative on the Gulf War, and they will be critical of the US's involvement, which is good. Black Ops Cold War similarly focused on both sides of the war, as opposed to it just being US propaganda like many of the Modern Warfare games have ended up being. It's always nice to have a good perspective. Of course, there's always more than one perspective to everything, especially war. These things are extremely complicated and extremely nuanced. It's hard to look at them, at least in most cases, from just one side bad, one side good. Often the lines are blurred a lot more than that. So apparently the campaign is going to be starting off at the end of the Cold War, so I guess finishing off where Black Ops Cold War left. I wonder if Perseus will be involved again as well, considering, of course, Stitch was killed by Adler at the end. However, we knew Perseus's legacy would continue, and the motion was set there, so maybe Perseus will be the main villain again, although I don't think so, because how exactly do they tell the Gulf War and attempt to tell a nuanced perspective, but then involve Perseus? That would mess up the whole story, so I feel like Perseus just won't really be a part of this story, to be honest. Even though the Black Ops games obviously always usually tell fictional
I don't know. Could they work Perseus into Operation Desert Storm? Comment below, man. Are y'all excited? Y'all want to see Perseus come back? Y'all just want to fight Saddam Hussein?
Stories of real-life events. They mix the two and bleed fiction and non-fiction together, but I don't think they're going to do that with this game. If, judging from these rumors, they're going to attempt to tell a nuanced perspective, how can they do that if it ends up just being a bunch of fiction? Now, they did confirm the report that apparently there's going to be a lot of remakes in multiplayer on launch, one being Grind, and they say WMD. However, according to the files of the game, it's not actually going to be a WMD remake. It's going to be a map similar to WMD, but apparently it's going to be a new map. Apparently the codename for this game is Operation Cerberus as well, and apparently the campaign is going to heavily focus around the CIA and the CIA's involvement in the Gulf War. We already had prior leaks showing a lot of the characters and the operators being in the CIA. Right now we don't know if Woods or Mason is even going to be in this game, because judging from the leaks, they've not been found in the files. It's just a bunch of other characters, so it's possible they may not be involved. I hope we see Adler back though if we don't see them, but it would feel weird not to see them incorporated in some way, especially with it being called Black Ops. Now, the last biggest piece of information is that they confirmed that round-based zombies is going to be returning for this game. This was obvious anyways. We knew this was going to be the case. In my prior video talking about the gameplay information for COD 2024 Zombies, there's been 2 round-based maps found in the files. However, according to Windows Central, they don't know if there's going to be 2 round-based maps on launch. They don't know the number of maps on launch, so I hope we get at least 2, considering Treyarch have had so long to develop this game. There definitely needs to be 2 at launch. 1 on launch with Black Ops Cold War wasn't enough, but the big thing is that apparently Activision are considering having a very early launch for COD 2024 Zombies if you pre-order the game. So similar how if you pre-order the game, you've been able to get campaign early access for the last 2 Modern Warfare games a week early. Apparently they're planning something similar for COD 2024 Zombies, but it's not just going to be a week early, they say weeks early. So maybe if you pre-order the game, you'll be able to play COD 2024 Zombies 2 weeks early, maybe even 3 weeks early, as just another big pre-order incentive. This would be huge. I don't know how they would handle that. Personally, I don't really care at what time it launches, although actually I would like all of the modes to release separately on separate dates, just because as a content creator, it's very overwhelming when a new game releases. And of course, I've got to cover content on all modes, so I usually just focus on one, for example, Zombies, which I love the most, but it would allow me to cover all modes if they're all released, stagnated, and separately. You know, we get the Zombies 2 weeks early, we get campaign campaign, you know, a week after that, and then the full launch with multiplayer then on the 3rd week. They could do something like that, and I would totally be down, honestly. And I wonder if maybe they are planning to have 2 maps on launch, or 2 round-based maps. They could have one that's only playable, you know, a couple weeks early, but then when the full game releases, they have another round-based map. That way they spread out the content instead of, you know, dumping their load all at once, like we
he said dumping their load all at once.
or with Blakwoodz 4 Zombies with 4 maps at once. That could be a good way to do things. And in terms of the Easter egg as well, will the Easter egg be doable if you are playing early access, or will they wait for the Easter egg to be added once the full game is out so everyone can join in on the Easter egg hunt? We will have to wait and see. There's so many questions that come from this, but Zombies early could be a very big thing. Very, very big. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said,
Oh shit, that's huge news, man. Zombies early. Drop a like if you like that news. Smash subscribe for all the latest zombie news, man. Check out my A channel where I play zombie games and a lot of other games. Till next time, it's your boy Tony Pogue, E-Boy, and Zombie Slayer. Ha! Finger cut.